In a few days, we'll see the final merge of servers until the summertime. I've seen many people discuss the union and some points on the note in regards to roster storage and the events active. But what I haven't seen is discussing the potential benefits of stacking a server with 6 potential Husk characters for a faux roster increase and the benefits that could have on a free-to-play individual. What do I mean by this? Well, we have already had one merge and we have seen what the universal character inventory looked like. Now, in most cases, most of you would have just resorted your current roster into their spots. And if you had paid for extensions previously, you would have manually added them again. You should have noticed that if there was an open slot left, you would have to have filled it from the inventory before you could load in. But that was for the first 6, I believe. You could have technically loaded into the server and had whatever surplus of characters shelved in this new character inventory. Now, if you placed all your characters, this menu would disappear. It is to my understanding that any surplus not placed will stay in the universal character inventory and can be swapped whenever unless they are chosen for gold earning, in which case they are bound right up until reset where they can be redesignated again. So what am I trying to highlight? Assuming you have at least 6 spots filled on your main server, you can essentially get 6 free slots to swap in between in the future. Why do I mention 6 slots? It seemed at least that if there was characters in the inventory and open slots, there's default 6 free slots, you cannot continue until you place them. So let's say I'm a new player and have 2 characters, a main and a fun alt. If I slot in 6 on the server I'm about to merge with, I will gain only 2 additional potential characters. 4 from the new server have to get laid down because of the 4 open slot. Then I will get 2 in my universal character inventory. Just some further clarification while editing, it seems that you can keep these characters in your inventory, but you will not be able to use the create a new character option until you place them into the positions. Then I can swap between. Once again, note the gold earning clause. As soon as they are registered as gold earners, they are locked in for the week. So it may be beneficial to not only make 6 husks on this merging server, but also fill any of the open free slots on your main server with husks so you can fully maximize on this merger as a free-to-play individual. So what do I mean about husks though? Typically, when a new Express event happens, folks will pre-make the class they intend to use earlier to rack up on rest bonus to fully maximize their leveling experience when the event goes live. In regards to new classes being added, they will pick the overarching class type like Warrior or Gunner and just leave them in the starter area in Trixion without choosing the subclass identity. This allows when servers come back up on a new class day, they can now access that subclass type and gain the rest bonus as well. Now, in regards to the server merger, this is the gamble. You have 6 slots to put in class types that you would either like to eventually try or maybe put an educated guess on the future class release and lock that in. For example, I could make a female gunner, name her, and auto design her. Then when I get to the auto area, I could log off, and when the merge happens, I have that option to sub out of one of my classes and try maybe a gunslinger, or even more copium idea, I hold on to that husk until summer for a new female gunner class release and lock it in with this character. This prevents me from having to either delete a character to replace or just allows me to have additional alts I could play on the side without paying for the character extension slot. Note, after the merger, it is my belief that if you ever delete a character, one spot in your universal inventory will forever be gone, as one will be forced to replace its spot. 6 additional spots becomes 5. This would also essentially work if you ever bought an extension ticket. You wouldn't have another character. It's just one more slot in your main characters that would have to be filled by characters in that inventory. A huge potential downside to this is locking in 6 additional character slots, and in the future you want a whole new character that isn't related to the husks you choose. I would imagine that would be forced to either delete every character in this inventory or buy slots to accommodate the ones you want to keep. A negative example could be that this summer there's a class release. Smilegate follows a release cadence of original class and then gender lock and repeat yearly. The last release is a gender unlock, male scrapper. So the new class would be a new class type. Let's say they make a male assassin or male mage or even a male specialist. There's no amount of luck in guessing for you to get that, as the class type isn't available as of yet. So this is kind of a gamble and has no real downsides though, as if you're maintaining playing as a free-to-play player, you would have to delete regardless. But if you happen to get lucky or just don't want to play these new classes that get released, you now have more options of classes you could play if you ever get bored of your current roster, and you wouldn't be forced to delete the current ones that you've invested time and energy into. And technically, every class is one balance patch away from being the most fun class in the game to play, so keep that in mind. I personally have bought 8 extension slots because I enjoy building new characters and benching others a lot. I've recently stopped though, as having 14 options is way too excessive, and have resorted to deleting characters, which I don't love, to be honest. So this option is great for me and others who similarly like to switch out characters, but also for those free-to-play types who want to test out some other playstyles on the side without the full commitment of deleting one of their current characters. My advice is to try it. Guess class types you might be interested in playing, and at worst, you would have to delete them in the future. It only takes about 10 minutes to do this process, so there's no real downside. Just make sure you check out which server will actually merge with yours prior to March 13th, as this option will only come back one more time in the summer. If you're interested in any more Lost Ark guides for new and returning players, check out my playlist, and have a great rest of your day.